when you do this long enough, you pick up the patterns, you pick up the vibes. He was so tight-lipped after the game on Sunday when they beat the Jaguars late and Burrow had left early, and you just kind of know. You kind of like, as I was chasing just the fact that it was hard to pin down anything on Sunday night before our show. It's like, this probably isn't good. This is the behavior we've seen in the past when it's not good, and they're because there's a strategic element to keeping your mouth shut. You want to get somebody else under contract before everybody knows that you're more desperate than they thought. Hey, Jim, I just wanted to call and see if maybe you're interested in playing a little football. You got a spot open, short term. 3 months. Oh, well, my price goes up a little bit. So I think that's part of the reason why, whether it's a trade, whether, you want to try to get your deal done and get your ducks in a row before everybody knows you are desperate. Because once you go desperate, if you're going to try to trade for somebody or sign somebody, it all gets more expensive. That's the way it works. So I think that's one of the reasons, because now we know surgery happening, 3-month minimum absence, 12 to 14 weeks. And really, he may not be back again this year. You only bring him back if you're in it. There's no reason to bring him back just to play a couple of games at the end of the season. So I think we'll know probably Thanksgiving at the absolute latest, maybe Halloween, whether or not it's worth trying to bring him back.
Yeah, and I think the hard thing of when you talk to people who have dealt with this injury, or they knew, they had a teammate that was dealing with it, it seems like just in general, even if they are doing well and they're in position, it still seems like it's going to be hard for him to come back and possibly have games to get in rhythm. You talk about 3 months, and now you're in the middle of December, and like, what if the game, like if we could look at their schedule and you're going to play in a cold game, and does he have to wear a steel plate in his shoe? Does he have to do this? Like, there's just so many elements of this. Of when you hear, a toe injury, you think right away, if you come back too early, that toe never heals. So it just seems like a lot that goes into it. And it's unfortunate because Joe Burrow is one of those guys that I think, as a football fan, you love to watch. I think watching him on the quarterback documentary thing this offseason, I think was awesome to see his intentions, how intense he is, what he brings to the game. And I think everybody wanted to see, was this Bengals team going to kind of come back this year and tell everybody you're wrong, the way our teams build, and look what we can do. Now, there's still a chance. I think Jake Browning's one of the better backup quarterbacks in the NFL, but it's just so different without Joe Burrow.
Browning was 4-3 in 2023 when Burrow missed the balance of the season with a wrist injury. Happened on a Thursday night in Baltimore in November. And what do you do if you're the Bengals? You ride with the guy who's there and who's ready, and they won the game on Sunday with Jake Browning despite the 3 interceptions. And I talked to him after the game, and, how do you really keep yourself ready at a moment's notice? Like, you can't be edge of your seat every play. Oh, is this one? Is this one? Do I have to go? Like, you do, it's got to be a shock when it finally happens. Although, as it relates to Burrow, we're not talking about Iron Man here. And, we've got 4 quarterbacks. In my mind, 4 quarterbacks who are the cream of the crop right now in the NFL: Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and Joe Burrow. Which doesn't belong and why? Joe Burrow. Put that graphic up again. Like, Patrick Mahomes, he's had injuries, but he's only missed very limited time in his career. He had that knee injury when they did kind of a tush-push 2019 on a Thursday night against the Broncos. And they did okay, frankly, without him, but he hasn't missed much time. Lamar Jackson's had a couple of late-season injuries, which may have been contract influence, because why am I going to go out there and risk further injury when I don't have security, which I fully endorse? Josh Allen, they broke his nose the other day, and he was back out there. We don't see him miss much game. We've had a lot of injuries for Joe Burrow, and I'm not saying he's injury-prone. The game is prone to injury. You go out there, you see what happened to Khalil Mack last night. Injuries are going to happen when you get hit. My point is this. If we're going to talk about Tua not being available to the team as much as he needs to be, At some point, we're going to have the conversation about Burrow not being available to the Bengals as much as he needs to be. Devin?
And I think the disheartening thing for football fans is it's just so similar to the Andrew Luck situation. And I know everybody's going to have different opinions. Bengals fans have been killing me since yesterday when I was on Kay Adams' show. And I said, the part of the issue, I think, for Joe Burrow is the way this team is built. I don't think it's built the way that you need to protect your quarterback or to play a certain style and to win consistently and be in those big games, because it is built on the weapons and everything like that. It's not built the way that I think a team should be built. And that's just my personal opinion. But when you start to look at just the numbers, the amount of games he's played, the amount of times he's been sacked, the amount of times he's been hit, it is very similar to when you look at Andrew Luck's few years in the NFL when he first got into Indianapolis. He was beaten up a lot, and a lot of his injuries. He had some bad injuries, and I played against Andrew Luck. He was one of the toughest, strongest quarterbacks you can play, but it just wore him down. I'm not saying Joe Burrow's the exact same way as Andrew Luck, but the situations do seem similar. And you wonder, is that how we're going to start to remember Joe Burrow's career? Super talented when on the field. I mean, it was just greatness, but a lot of time spent off the field. And again, it sucks for all football fans because he's dynamic. He's fun to watch. You love seeing him on the field. I think he's one of the most cerebral quarterbacks made in the mold of Peyton Manning and Brady when it comes to coming to the line of scrimmage, reading things, figuring out. I think he's the highest level of quarterback we have in the game right now in that standard. But we're not going to see him on the field, and we haven't seen him on the field a lot.
And he really is the heart and soul of that team. We'll see what they can do with Jake Browning and if they can stay in striking distance for a late playoff run if and when Burrow is good to go. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.